On today's episode of the Steve Freeman Podcast, we are talking about songwriters and self-employed music workers and how you may be eligible for relief under the new federal stimulus bill. We're going to go over all the details in today's episode of the Steve Freeman Podcast.
You're listening to the Steve Freeman Podcast, the real, raw truth about the pursuit of success in music, business, and life. Here's your host, hit songwriter, multi-platinum selling producer, and serial entrepreneur, Steve Freeman.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Steve Freeman Podcast. The episode today, I think, has the potential to be very helpful for you, especially if you are a songwriter or if you're self-employed and in the entertainment business, especially the music business. You want to pay attention to what we're going to talk about today because you could be eligible for relief under the new federal stimulus bill. We're going to talk about that and how you can apply for that in today's episode of the podcast. But first, don't forget, follow me on social media at The Steve Freeman on all social media platforms. And I would love to have you a member of my inner circle. Go to thestevefreeman.com and you enter your email address. Don't worry, I don't sell it to anybody. But you will get occasional tips and tricks and advice from me delivered straight to your email inbox. You can do that at thestevefreeman.com or the podcast home, which is thestevefreemanpodcast.com. And our podcast sponsor is always artistdevelopmentacademy.com. Get the information, access, and guidance you need to help you be successful in your music career. All of the information can be found at artistdevelopmentacademy.com. I know we are going through a rough time right now. I don't know how you are dealing with this self-quarantining and social distancing. I made reference the other day that most of us songwriters and producers, we're used to being kind of holed up on our own and locked away in our studios, working on ideas and trying to bring creations to life. This is kind of what we do. But I was even telling a friend of mine on the phone today that I am even really starting to feel this. I never really thought that I did a lot until I'm starting to realize that I really did go out a lot more. I really did go do other things and go to other places. Now that that has been eliminated or constrained desperately to my 2 trips a day to Starbucks. My 2 trips a day to Starbucks very carefully, though, because I am doing the hand sanitizer, the gloves. Everybody at Starbucks in the drive-thru is thankfully wearing their gloves. So while I can't stop doing that or haven't stopped doing it yet, I'm doing it as carefully as possible, but I'm starting to notice and see that these things are taking an effect on me as well, even though most of the time I would say that being socially distant and self-quarantining myself is kind of the norm around here. However, one of the things that we are starting to see is the economy, and especially for independent contractors, for entrepreneurs, for self-employed people, this is very detrimental. What's going on with the coronavirus and what's going on around the country with businesses closing down, people staying in their homes. This is having a horrible financial impact on many, many, many Americans. As you've probably been following the news, even if you just log in like I do to maybe check out the daily press conference to see what the latest news is, you've probably all heard about the federal stimulus bill. And I wanted to go over a little bit of what that could possibly mean for you, the songwriter, self-employed musician, entertainment business person, what it might mean for you to be able to help get some financial assistance through this horrible time. And I know what some people are going to say. You know, a lot of people, I don't want to ask for a handout. I don't want to look like I need help. Listen, this is not the time for that. If this has put you in a horrible financial position and you need to provide for yourself, need to provide for your family to make it through this time period, this is not a time for it. Okay. If you need help and you need assistance and you need to make it through, you need to be seeking out how you can apply for this relief and how you can get some income coming in until all of this gets past us and you can go back to playing your gigs, go back to doing whatever it is and however it is that you make your living as a self-employed worker in the music business. But don't let pride get in your way. There was a great article that came out that was written by Jim Oswald in Variety magazine. And I want to make sure that I credit them because I kind of want to read this article. And I want you, because there's so much valuable information in here. I could have done it differently and absorbed the information and then just talked about it, but I don't really want to do that. I want to make sure that I'm giving you the accurate information to where you know exactly what you're eligible for and what the definitions are, so that if you do need to go find this relief and you need to apply for this, you need to know how to do it exactly. So I'm going to read from this article. It's entitled Songwriters, Self-Employed Music Workers Eligible for Relief in Federal Stimulus Bill. It's by Jim Oswald of Variety magazine. It says songwriters, along with other gig economy workers in the music industry, ranging from producers to roadies, will be eligible for grants and loans under the $2 trillion stimulus bill passed by the Senate in response to the coronavirus pandemic. The advocacy organization Songwriters of North America, which is SONA, and Nashville Songwriters Association International, which is the NSAI. And the House is expected to confirm a counterpart bill on Thursday. We will check back in with that. I'm almost positive that's going to go well. The bill seeks to pour money into the economy in an effort to preserve millions of endangered jobs and businesses. It would direct payments of $1,200 to most American adults and $500 to children. It would steer $350 billion towards small businesses in an effort to prevent layoffs and push billions more toward hospitals and unemployment insurance. And it would create a $500 billion program for businesses, states, and localities. Now, this is just the basic, I'm going away from the article here. This is just, the basic stimulus bill that everyone, if you fall into the requirements, is going to be eligible for to get under the stimulus. There, towards the end of that paragraph, they were talking about the $500 billion program for businesses, states, and localities. This is where you're going to fall. Reading back from this article now, SONA, NSAI, the National Music Publishers Association, the NPA, and other industry groups work closely with congressional leaders, including Representative Tom Deutsch of Florida, Senator Marsha Blackburn from here in Tennessee, and Representatives Jerry Nadler and Zoe Lofgren, to include language ensuring that, quote, sole proprietors, independent contractors, and self-employed workers are included in federal grant and loan programs contained in this bill. Some individuals may also qualify for unemployment under some provisions of this new bill. The distinction is very important because most industry creative and supportive occupations are not eligible for unemployment. The bill now covers self-employed small business owners, a category that in music ranges from songwriters to roadies. Under the new bill, self-employment individuals could begin receiving financial aid through grants and loans as soon as next month. Okay, I want to go away from the article. I want to talk a little bit about the definitions of what some of this means. I've said this in many podcasts and videos in the past, and I'm hoping that you guys were paying attention. Even if you have a publishing deal, even those of you that may be listening that have a staff writing or publishing deal, you are still an independent contractor. You are still self-employed. 99.9% of the time, you are a contract employee. You are a 1099. You're not getting a regular paycheck. You're getting a draw. And very rarely do publishing companies hold taxes and treat you as if you're an employee from a financial and tax purposes standpoint. You are considered an independent contractor, a small business, or self-employed. So this covers you too, even if you have a publishing deal. I think this is very important because in times like this, in times of crisis, it's been shown that the entertainment business, movies and music, are what people turn to. It's what they want to either get their mind off of what's going on. I know that I'm doing that right now. I'm finding new podcasts that I enjoy. I'm researching a lot of different things, using this time to find alternate methods to take up my consciousness, to maybe learn something, but more importantly, to get my mind off of all of the negativity. because we're being inundated with it. We see it everywhere. It's every time we turn on the television, every time we log on to YouTube or Facebook, it is something about this virus. And most of the time, it is not positive. Now, there are a few people out there that I have to give credit for that are trying to find the silver lining in this very, very, very storm-ridden and dark cloud. One of the guys that I follow on Twitter, which I don't do Twitter often, but one of the guys that I do follow on Twitter is Clay Travis from Outkick the Show. You've seen him on Fox Sports. He's got a nationally syndicated radio show, but he's all about sports. But one of the things he's been doing in his every day on his show on YouTube and on Twitter when he does live and even in the tweets that he's posting, he's trying to find the positive news about what's going on. The fact that fewer cases were found, in this period, fewer deaths. It's not as bad as it looks. And he looks for all of the positive things. What's amazing to me are the number of people that engage with him on Twitter that are upset that he's finding a brighter side to this. And he's not just following in line with all the other cronies that are trying to cash in on the if it bleeds, it leads strategy that most of the rest of the media is employing. And there are a few others out there that I have to say are doing a really good job of trying to at least not be so negative. Because now is not a time for us to be negative. Some other things from this article that I found very important. Dina Laporte is a board member of Sony and a top industry lawyer. She said the United States represents 33% of the global music industry worldwide. Think about that. 33% of the global music industry worldwide right here in the United States. She said, we need laws that protect creators and ensure they are protected from economic destruction. Amen to that. Amen to that. Now, we could get off here in an array of tangents, and we could go off and we could talk about streaming and we're not getting paid, but we should get paid. We could talk about all that. But I think that is, again, focusing on the negative side of what's going on right now. I want to try to focus on the positive side and the things that are being recognized right now. And right now, people all over the world and in the United States, we're talking, senators and House representatives, they are understanding the importance of content creators. They're understanding the importance and the role of songwriters and producers and artists and the effect that we have on the mental state of people all over the world. And I think when you read a statistic like that and seeing that just in the United States, that we represent 33% of the global music industry worldwide, and that there is a call to protect creators and songwriters and artists and producers to make sure that we are protected from economic destruction, people are starting to listen. And I think this is a huge, huge step. Mitch Glazer, the chairman of the IRAA, said, we are grateful that the stimulus bill contains key aid for those in the entertainment industry who cannot work due to a canceled performance or a production shutdown. Access to unemployment insurance, small business loans, and payment deferrals, and more funding for the NEA to provide relief to musicians will ensure that hundreds of thousands of musicians can continue to pay rent, put food on the table, and care for their children during this public health crisis. I don't know that it could be said any better than that. Whether it's through unemployment insurance or small business loans, some of these grants, and for those of you that don't, I'm not trying to talk to you like you're stupid, but some people don't understand. A grant from the government does not have to be repaid. They're even saying that even some of these small business loans are going to be forgiven, and they're not going to be required to be paid back. So if you're sitting out there and you're a musician and you make your living from either a publishing deal or some other independent source of financing, whether that be your gigs, whether you're getting $150 a night and you play this place 4 nights a week and you're going to miss out on the $600 a week, whatever that is, you fall under one of these categories to make sure that you can get this relief and that you are not economically destroyed by what's going on right now. Sony will also have information on their website. Now, I want you to take this down. I will also put this in the show notes of the podcast. But Sony is going to have information on their website, and this website is wearesona.com. That is WEARARE, Sona, SONA, spelled out. It's WEARESONA.com. You can go there. They've got information there to direct songwriters to the best resources on applying for these grants and loans. The bill sets an income eligibility limit of those making under $100,000 annually for some of the programs. So you need to go to the website. You can go to Sony. They've got, when you get there, you go to their site. It's a gray background, and it says, "We are keeping the pulse on the stimulus bill that is currently going through Congress, and we'll have information on our website and social media about how to apply as soon as it becomes law. In the meantime, check out our list of emergency resources, which includes funding and healthcare opportunities." I think everybody, if you fall into this category, you need to be aware of what you're eligible for. You need to be aware of these COVID-19 emergency resources. If you would like to apply for unemployment, you can do that right there on their site. Unemployment insurance, by the way, is an employer-paid program that provides partial income replacement when you become unemployed or have your hours reduced. You can take a look there. You can click the link. You can see what the eligibility requirements are. There are a lot of different things as far as medical aid is concerned. You've got the Healthcare Blue Book, the Health Well Foundation, the Music Health Alliance. You've got the COVID Tornado Financial Assistance, a relief grant for immediate financial support for tornado victims, which may be some people here in Nashville taking part of that, but also for COVID-19, the coronavirus. There's a lot of information here, folks. General financial aid from Music Cares to the New Orleans Musicians Clinic, the Actors Fund, 20 Summers Emergency Arts Fund, sound royalties. I know that the Music Cares is a big part. I'm a voting member of the Recording Academy. And I know that Music Cares is a great program. You may want to check into that and see if you apply. If you're a musician, check into Sweet Relief. They have created a donor direct fund with a limited amount of funds available to use specifically for musicians and music industry workers affected by the coronavirus. All funds raised will go towards medical expenses, lodging, clothing, food, and other vital living expenses to those impacted due to sickness or loss of work. There's the Equal Sound Corona Relief Fund, Musicians Foundations Fund, the Blues Foundation Heart Fund, Jazz Foundation of America, the IBMA Bluegrass Trust Fund, the Boston Artist Relief Fund. All of this can be found at wearesona.com. I highly recommend that you go take a look at this. I said earlier that this is not a time to be prideful. This is not a time to, quote unquote, try to rise above. If you are being negatively financially impacted by what is going on right now, you owe it to yourself and you owe it to your family to check this stuff out. Guys, I'm going to tell you, everybody's talking about the end of April. And President Trump came on yesterday and extended the strong advisory for self-quarantining and social distancing to continue another 2 weeks, which means the end of April. I don't think that's when this is going to end. I'm not trying to be negative. I'm trying to be realistic. And I've been doing things over the last week or so via live streams and topics on the podcast, talking about taking advantage of the time that you have right now. It is tough. If you need help and you need assistance, and this, like I said, is impacting you worse financially than you thought it was going to, it's time to get educated and know exactly what your options are as far as hopefully finding some relief and either getting on the unemployment insurance or finding out about these small business loans or grants that are going to be made available. Now, I'm also going to say, and this is for a few of you assholes out here that are not really going to be affected by this, but you're going to apply for the grants and you're going to buy studio equipment and you're going to buy a guitar. Look, you can call me whatever name, those of you out there listening, you know damn well who I'm talking about because we all know 3 or 4 of them. They're the same people that go in and buy up all the toilet paper and hand sanitizer. Same people. We need to make sure that the people that need it the most get it first. And the people that need it the most get the most. This is a time of such disarray that when we've never seen anything quite like this before. And so, of course, as always, as there is in anything, we're going to see people take advantage. And I hate to see that. It really pisses me off when I see people not take advantage of opportunities like this when they don't really need to. But one thing I do want to harp on, besides being educated, knowing what your options are, knowing that if you do need the financial assistance, where to go to find it, where to go to apply to see if you're eligible. Again, I want to talk very briefly about making the most of the time that you have right now. We are in a situation where we are being self-quarantined and socially distant. You can look at this as a negative thing, and there's not a lot of positive in it. So if you are looking for that silver lining to this very dark cloud, take this opportunity to educate yourself. Take this opportunity to learn something that you didn't know. Maybe you don't know Pro Tools as well as you want to. Go and learn it. Maybe you're not quite the songwriter yet that you want to be. Study other songwriters, listen to more music, read books. The more you read, the more you listen, the better songwriter you will be. Invest some of your time that you have right now into doing the things that you're not able to do when things go back to normal and you're running from one gig to another or one session to another, or you're working 8, 10, 12 hours a day at your normal job and you don't have time to put into your music career or into your small business or into your t-shirt business or whatever business it is that you're in. You have that time now. Make the best of it. It's very easy. We can sit around. We can get depressed. We can get discouraged. I battle depression. I've talked about it before. Things like this are not really good for me. The reason I own 37 businesses is because I fight depression and I need to keep myself busy and focused on 150 million things at once, or I will slip into a depression. What's going on right now is the perfect storm and has all of the right ingredients to get you down and get you depressed and get you frustrated. We've got to see on the other side of this. The way to do that is to use the time that you're given right now, forced or not, but use this time to get better. Use this time to learn more. Because we've got it on our hands. Once it's over, God willing, this thing passes, and it passes very soon. Nothing would make me happier than if we were talking about how this thing was in the past at the end of April. Just a mere short 30 days from now. That would be awesome. That would be amazing. And that is my prayer. But if we're not, again, try to look at the opportunity that you're given of time. Because in all honesty, guys, time is the most valuable asset we can ever hope to obtain. We're only allotted so much of it. And if nothing else, when we look around and we do see the negative news coming out of what is going on and the devastation that the coronavirus is causing worldwide and even here at home, with even just this week losing country music legend Joe Diffie, John Prine being in critical condition. This is not good news to hear. But even while we're hearing that, we should relish, and it should help us appreciate the time that we do have, because it is limited. Right now, you're being given a little bit more of it. Use the time wisely. And again, wearesona.com. If you are a songwriter, producer, engineer, if you are an independent contractor, self-employed, and you are in the entertainment business, you need to go to wearesona.com. Make sure that you stay up to date with what's going on with the federal stimulus bill and the small business loans, unemployment insurance, expansion, and all of this, and how it can cover you and get you the assistance that you need. All of the resources, education, and information that you need to know, you can find at wearesona.com. You can also check in with the Recording Academy. You can check in with Music Cares, with NSAI. All of these different places will have these resources readily available for you to know exactly what's going on and exactly if you qualify, how to apply, and how to get the financial relief that you need when it becomes available. Guys, thank you for joining me for another episode of the Steve Freeman Podcast. It is just so damn good to have you guys here. I appreciate you so much. I'm using a lot of this time. We're going to be changing some things with the podcast and growing it in bigger and better ways than I had even dreamed of. And it's all thanks to you guys. So I cannot thank you enough. The only thing I will ask you to do is if you have not done this yet, please go to iTunes and Apple Podcast, rate us 5 stars, and leave a written review. Please leave a written review. Those written reviews and those 5 stars help you shoot up the rankings even faster, even more so above so than the number of downloads. They show Apple that people really are interested and really engaging, and then they push that content out and help actually market and promote the podcast that do have a lot of reviews and a lot of stars. So I ask you, if you have not done that yet, please do that. Go to Apple Podcast or iTunes and rate us 5 stars and leave a written review, even a short one. You can just say, Steve is freaking great. That's all you have to say. Please go do that for us. If you're not following me on social media, it's at the Steve Freeman everywhere. And if you'd like to join my inner circle to get tips, tricks, and advice, and sometimes just some BS from good old me, delivered straight to your email inbox, go to thestevefreeman.com or thestevefreemanpodcast.com, and you can join my inner circle. The sponsor for the Steve Freeman Podcast is always artistdevelopmentacademy.com. If you are looking for the information, the access, and the guidance by industry insiders and professionals who have reached the highest levels of success in the business, if you want instruction and information and guidance from those people, go to artistdevelopmentacademy.com and become a member. I highly recommend it. I mean, I own it, so of course I highly recommend it. But we've got some great educational resources, some hands-on, step-by-step, monthly online courses going over all aspects of the music business. I highly encourage you to go check it out, artistdevelopmentacademy.com. Guys, I hope you're good. I hope you're feeling well. I hope you're healthy. And I wish you all good things. Until the next episode, keep being creative, keep pressing the boundaries, and there's nothing wrong with being independent. See you in the next one.
Thanks for joining us for the Steve Freeman Podcast. Be sure to subscribe and follow Steve on social media at the Steve Freeman.